welcome back to another week of working out at home. Hopefully, all things goes right. It will be our last week of having to work out at home. Remember guys, we're always going to kick off with those 10 belly breaths, giving yourself that grace and space to just take 30 to 45 minutes just for you. We can do that standing up. I prefer to do it laying down. This really allows me to relax and kind of get my headspace right. From there, we're going to go into 10 shoulder rollouts. I've got a band because our second movement is going to be a band pull apart. You can use a PVC pipe, a broom, right, whatever we've got at home. But we're going to come through, touch that lower back, and come all the way around back to that belly button or hip, depending on how wide your hands are. From there, we're going to go into 20 band pull-aparts. With the band pull-apart, remember, our main priority is to lock our elbow out, and we want to think about pulling our wrist behind our body. So it's not in front of the chest, but rather really pulling that wrist behind the shoulder. The other thing we want to avoid, and we see happen quite a bit, is we have this bent elbow push, which then makes it a tricep movement versus an upper back movement. And we're really trying to open up and warm up the upper back. From there, we're going to go into 10 leg swings. So the leg swing is very simple. If we don't have balance, grab the back of a chair or a table, just something so we don't fall over. But we just want to get that hip socket moving, 5 each leg to get that 10 in total. And then coming into 10 good mornings. If you happen to have a band like I do today, we can put the band on the back of the shoulders. We'll then step in, creating this triangle movement or triangle position. From there, hips are going to go back, chest will come forward. Getting a long stretch of the hamstring. Remember with our good mornings, as we come down, when we're doing them in a warm-up, we want to get a nice long stretch, chest parallel to the ground, returning back into that full standing position. We're going to do that for 2 rounds. Then we've got our murp prep for week 2. We're increasing the total number of reps as well as the number of rounds. So last week we did 3 rounds. This week we're going to do 4. We're going to increase the pull-ups to 4. If we don't have a pull-up bar, not a problem. We can grab a barbell or a kettlebell, 6 bent over rows. Remember with our bent over row, we're going to have that chest leaning forward, soft in the knees. If we're using a barbell, I'm going to physically put my index finger right at the smooth and the knurling. From there, I'm going to pull top of knee, elbows tight to the body, to the belly button. So 6 bent over rows. If we only have a kettlebell, we can do that same movement. We're going to hold the 2 horns of the kettlebell from there and pull in. We just want to make sure that we exaggerate that little bit of pause at the top. 6 push-ups. With our push-up, the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder are all going to stay in a nice straight line. We're going to get our chest and our quad to physically touch the ground at the same time, as well as come up. Chest to the deck, back to full extension. If we cannot keep a straight body position for 6 consecutive push-ups, we need to start elevating our hands, be it on a coffee table, your stairs, whatever that is, but we're looking to avoid knee push-ups where possible. We want the body to get used to holding that long position. From there, we're going to go into our 12 air squats. Heels outside of the hips. Remember, we want to pay attention to what happens with our chest angle. So as we head down, we want to get hip creasing the knee, coming back all the way up to that full standing position. We want to avoid those half-assed squats. Heading down, chest comes forward, and then we never open back up. So we get the knee to fully open, but we don't open at the hip. So we want to make sure that each rep we stand tall. So again, to review, 4 pull-ups, 6 push-ups, 12 air squats. It's written as a 90-second window. If you are finding that you are finishing that in 30, maybe 35 seconds or less, Shorten that window to a 60-second window. So adjust the time as needed depending on your pace, but we're going 4 rounds this week. Once we've done that, we're gonna head into our workout of the day. It is written with a barbell, sumo deadlift, high pull. Now we've been doing some sumo deadlifts the last couple of weeks, so we should be very familiar with our foot position needed for this movement. Heels are gonna come outside of the hips. I like to have my toes slightly pointed out. So if I think about straight ahead as 12 on a clock, I'm gonna put one foot at 1, I'm gonna put the opposite foot at 11. Big priority is what happens with our relation to our knee and our ankle. As I head down, I'm gonna think about pushing my knees open. As I sit down, the knee should stay stacked over our ankle. If you find, or if I were to go too wide, as I come down, my knee now is inside of my ankle, I'm either doing one of two things. I'm not actively thinking about pushing open my knees, right, pulling that open with our hips, or I physically lack the mobility or the strength to get into that position. If you find that being the case, narrow the stance and get a little excited because we know that there's some room for improvement either with mobility or strength. We can talk about that separately. Hand position, sumo deadlift high pull. The closest we want our hands to be together is a thumb distance, right? So if I create kind of that paper field goal with my hands, I'm then gonna center that on the bar. The widest I wanna let my hands get is gonna be that pinky finger right at the smooth and the knurling. That's the widest we wanna come. We need room for the shoulder to be able to get through. Off of the floor, chest will come nice and tall, opening up of the hips. We're gonna drive up with our legs. Once we have full extension through the hip and the knee, we'll transfer to the hands. The highest the bar needs to come is the collarbone. As soon as we get that height, let the bar come back down. A lot of times we'll see people drive all the way up, and then there's this like weird long pause at the top. We want to avoid that. So a full rep is gonna come off of the ground to the collarbone and return back to the floor each time. So we're gonna do 21 of those. We're then going to come into 25 double unders. So if we've got our rope handy, go ahead and grab that. With our double unders, in theory, you're gonna jump once, rope will go under you twice. If we don't have double unders, we're gonna do 2 times single, meaning that you would do 50 single unders. When we think about a single under, we have a nice straight body position. We are relaxed in the shoulders, relaxed in our breathing. We want to try to maintain that when we do a double under. The thing that changes is the height that we need, or the time that we spend off of the floor, and the speed of the wrist has to double. We've done this in the past, those kind of penguin jumps where we can get the timing, right? A lot of double under is less about strength and more about coordination. So as we jump up, I'm going to use my hands as flippers and a tap tap while I'm off the ground. So that all needs to happen with 1 jump, 2 taps. If we don't have a rope or we don't have double unders, this is a great substitution. So 25 of those pigeon taps, but the goal, as we all know, is to get to that double under. So as we jump, straight body position is maintained. Jump gets higher, wrist gets faster. So that's our workout of the day, 21, 15, 9, sumo deadlift high pull with a 25 double under. Short and sweet today. If we are doing the other equipped, and we have a kettlebell at home, a dumbbell would work as well. Foot position stays the same. So we have that nice wide foot position, heels outside of the hips. Hands are going to be much closer simply because that's what the equipment requires. So my hands are going to have to be right in next to each other. Motor pattern, however, is the same as if we were doing it with a barbell. So we're going to drive off the floor, Big drive with the legs, pulling all the way up to the collarbone. We're gonna do a 21, 15, 9, 15, 21 with single unders after each round. Once we've completed our workout of the day, if we've got a band, great, we can use that. If all we've got is PVC pipe or our broom, go ahead and use that too. So once we get our heart rate back down, we're gonna put our heels underneath our hips. Chest is gonna come forward. Knees are gonna get soft, so we don't want a locked out knee. We also don't want a bent knee. So we just gonna call that our soft knee. But we're gonna do 100 good mornings. Once we've completed 100 good mornings, we're gonna go 1 minute pigeon, or sometimes called figure 4, each leg. From here, we're gonna cross over, long stretch the outside of that hip, 1 minute each side. If you find this puts too much pressure on your knee, we can always come onto our backs, cross it over, so I'm looking to put my ankle just above my knee, and now I can push open, relax my head down, and get that same muscle grouping without so much pressure in my knee. That's gonna be your fun for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.